This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Good morning, Tuscaloosa, internet world, West Alabama. How we doing today on a Thursday? It's the Joe Gaither Show, the rare Thursday that feels like a Friday on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. You guys are watching us on the Bama Central YouTube channel, on the Bama Central Facebook page. You're listening to us on Apple Podcast, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. You can get the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We appreciate everybody who has subscribed, rated, reviewed the program on those platforms. We're proudly presented by Derek Daniel, State Farm Insurance, right here in Northport. You can find him just past the Tiger Rock on the left as you're going up Highway 69 north into Northport. Call him for all of your insurance needs at 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. Call and see how much he can save you today. We also are proudly presented by Purple Turtle Roofing. You can check them out online at roofturtle.com. They'll come out and give you a free roof inspection. Make sure that you have the peace of mind that you deserve in your home. So make sure that you are checking them out online at roofturtle.com. We're going to have a lot of fun today with my friend Theo Fernandez. You can find him on the Twitter machine at Theo Fernandez _, right there, writing all things Alabama athletics for us at BamaCentral.com. And also working his tail off at Fox Sports as they are knee-deep in World Cup action. Team USA last night, 2-0. Get your patriotism on. Unbelievable night. Maybe a tough red card on Florin Balogun, but you had an amazing free kick to put it away. And Team USA is moving into the Sweet 16 where they're going to face Belgium, who escaped from Senegal yesterday. Senegal had them beaten, but Belgium escaped, and England pulled one out at the death. So another great day of World Cup action. Theo, are you alive? Are you well? How are you feeling? Do we need to send you anything for all the work that you're doing? To send you any supplements, any stimulants, any food, anything to help get you by?
Well, I'm already on way too many stimulants using the energy drinks and the caffeine. It's got to really, really cut down on that to survive past this World Cup. But right now, the priority is just surviving the World Cup. So it's been very busy there. Man, that was a jolt of energy last night, though, watching this man-down USA team. I was ready for the story to be, oh, you lose a guy, and all of a sudden your dreams come crashing, and putting it away with that free kick. That was awesome. I'm doing awesome. Loving the clean shave, Joe. It's a good look. I'm excited. It's a good day.
Well, I'm headed to the beach next week, so I wanted to look right as me and the girlfriend are going on a beach trip. I had to get the haircut, had to do the whole 9 yards. So with that being said, there will be no show from me on Friday, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of next week. I am. It is really the last week of vacation for me before we turn it into football action and getting ready for the 2026 season. I know I took a week off in June. I apologize for everybody who did that. I'm taking one right here and celebrating 4th of July, and we will be back back in action on Thursday and Friday of next week. So, yes, it is the rare Thursday that feels like a Friday. We appreciate everybody who's patient with us as we will come back for more episodes next week and really be wrapping up the Alabama football conversation. With that, we'll jump to these World Cup games today. We'll pick them real quick, and then we'll get into some Alabama football conversation for today. I want to get Theo to react to the list that I put out yesterday, and I know that Theo did not get to see this Pete Nakos article because he's been working so hard, and that's okay. I'm going to read him some of these quotes, and I just know, or I have a strong suspicion that Theo's going to lose his mind at some of these quotes, and we're going to be further affirmed in Alabama's recruiting position. So that's going to be the plan for today. But World Cup, you got 3 more days of round of 32 action, Theo. 3 more days to hang on, and then it's fewer days and fewer games in a day. So I know that your workload is really, really high right now, but it is maybe, hopefully, going to taper off as you have fewer teams in the tournament. Today, Spain and Austria happen at 2 o'clock. Portugal and Croatia. Ooh, that's your game of the day right there. 6 o'clock. And then 10 o'clock, if you can't sleep, Switzerland and Algeria. That seems like that one will put you to sleep. I'm going to take Spain easily. They're going to cruise over Austria. I think Portugal and Croatia is going to be a bloodbath. Oh, I think that's going to be what a game. I think you're going to see some physicality. I think you're going to see some cards. I think you're going to see some nice skill. And I think Portugal wins on penalties after a 2-2 tie. Portugal wins on penalties after a 2-2 tie. And Switzerland and Algeria, I will take Switzerland barely in regular time.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting day. I don't think Austria at all has what it takes to compete with Spain. And then I think Croatia could really give Portugal a run for their money. But knowing that there's the Portugal-Spain matchup waiting for us in the round of 16, come on, that is such a perfect matchup. With the winner of that game playing the USA or Belgium, we can't lose out on the Spain-Portugal potential game. So I will go Portugal. I think Ronaldo scores his first career knockout round goal in extra time to lift Portugal over Croatia. And then, Switzerland, Algeria, that's going to put me to sleep. I'm going to be fighting for my life over there at the studio. But I'll go Algeria. I'll go Algeria there. I like this Algeria team. Outside of playing Messi, they've looked pretty solid.
There we go. So it's going to be another three-game set at the World Cup right there on Fox and FS1 and all their family of networks. Theo, I mean, from me to you, I really appreciate the work that you're doing out there. I appreciate you being on the show each and every morning that you can, waking up early. I know it's a bear, but obviously it's the play, it's the players, it's the action. But you got the World Cup is really uplifting my personal summer, and I hope it's uplifting a lot of other people's personal summers. And really giving us something to get us all the way to college football season. Here we go. Stephen Wesley Weeks watched the game last night. I thought the Americans were getting shafted at certain points last night with all the offsides. I don't know much about soccer, but I could be wrong. You had some marginal calls. Florin was definitely offsides. Balogun was offsides on the first goal. That's just a tough one. Hard positioning. I think Pulisic on his what would have been the 2-0 goal. I think that's a pretty frustrating call. And to get the red card on Balogun is pretty frustrating as well, because you've seen that foul a handful of times this year in the World Cup, and it hasn't been given a red card. I mean, a yellow would have been fine for me. But all in all, we're going to complain about officiating in every sport.
I feel like we've hit football season now, right? We've got people ready to chime in on every call. I will say, the offsides rule I think, has become my least favorite rule in sports. I understand it's a part of the game. I understand you need to call offsides. But it feels against the spirit of any game to the way that they call the offsides, to go and make us spend. It reminds me of college basketball, where they'll go and do some of the dumbest reviews at times. If an offsides is that close, where it's, a toenail over the line, it's ridiculous. No player can time that out perfectly. Like, it just feels so random. Like you're reaching into a hat. No, will it be offsides? Will it not be? I don't know.
Who was it? Was it Ecuador or Mexico that had a toe, one toe breaking the plane? And I'm thinking, you got to have some sort of margin here. Like, obviously, you don't want the cherry pickers going down the field. Like, I get that. You don't want the cherry pick. But, like, if instead of it being breaking the plane, you know how the same rule for out of bounds. The soccer ball, the entire ball has to be out of bounds for it to be out of bounds. You can play the ball if the ball is on the line. If you're in the line of the defender, if your body's in the line of the defender line, then you're onside. I think the offsides rule needs to be amended to where you're fully past one body length past the defender. That would make it a lot clearer, and I think that would open up a lot more goals and a lot more excitement.
All right, final soccer comment from me. What I would do, I would draw a line on the field where it's somewhere probably, if midfield's the 50% of the field, they draw probably around the 40% line, right? Where if the ball is inside that line, there's no offsides.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you have to play defense, right? At a certain point, you got to do your job and defend the guy. So I think it's ridiculous that on a corner kick where everybody is down in the final 10% of the field, you can call a guy offsides. Feels like the easiest cop-out for the defense. Like, it's ridiculous, man. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. I am enjoying this World Cup, and I know a lot of you guys are. But I also know a lot of you guys are getting fed up with these rules. I would Americanize this sport a little more if I were in charge. There's a reason us Americans aren't.
Well, we will be. We will be.
One day. Once we win this World Cup, it's soccer.
Yeah, we will be. Wanted to just shout out to Steven again. Thank you so much for watching the show and for leaving us a comment. Theo, I don't have a whole lot of in-depth conversation today, but I wanted to get your reaction to the list that I put out yesterday as the top 10 football players on the Alabama Crimson Tide team this year. And then I want you to react to this Pete Nakos article, and then we're going to go home. I did this last year, and we did it with Mason, and we basically did the top 10 football players on the team. And we've done this for the last 2 years. But really, yesterday, I went 10-1, and then I gave 5 honorable mentions, and I left up a bunch of future members of the list as well. So I'll just read it to you 10-1, and then get you to react, and I'll throw you some of my honorable mentions, and we'll kind of see how you feel about the best football players on this Alabama Crimson Tide team. I went number 10, Lucier Brooks, wide receiver. I went number 9, tight end Josh Ford. I went number 8, wide receiver Ryan Coleman-Williams. Number 7, defensive end / bandit Devin Tompkins. I went number 6, nose tackle / defensive tackle Terrence Green. Number 5, cornerback Dijon Lee. Number 4, edge rusher Wolf Yanzi Pierre. Number 3, right tackle, right guard Michael Carroll. Number 2, safety Bray Hubbard. And number 1, Zabien Brown.
I'm sorry, you went Josh Ford at 9?
Josh Ford at number 9.
Yeah.
Have you heard about it? I mean, apparently he's been a nasty mother trucker in the run game, blocking some people. And I think that he's going to end up being a very much, you didn't really replace Robbie Oots. Josh Cuevas, different tight end. I think this is a very, let's find a Robbie Oots type tight end. And I think he's going to be on the field a lot for Alabama.
All right, I like it. Robbie was a fun guy to watch, man. And this team certainly could have benefited from a guy like that last season. All right, I like the picks.
Yeah. You got any that stand out? I feel like Ryan Coleman-Williams at 8. Is that a little too low, or we feel pretty good about it?
Yeah, I mean that feels low just at face value, and then I mean. You didn't have Ume Zulu on there, did you?
No, I did not.
No,
I don't have any of my honorable mentions either.
Wow, no honorable mention, huh?
My honorable mentions, I went 11 Keon Sabb. I went 12 Red Morgan. I went 13 Justin Hill, 14 William Sanders, and 15 I went with London Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly went outside the box a little bit. I like it, not just going with the 15 biggest names. I like the Justin Hill pick. I'm high on him. I really think that he does a lot of what Kane Womack is looking for. I think the violence is going to be a thing of beauty to watch. What was your Terrence Green? Was he 7?
6 and Devin Tompkins 7. So I got the 2 transfers right there next to one another. I just think when I think football player, I think physicality, I think attention to detail. I mean, look, everybody's going to look at a running back, a quarterback, and think the sexy picks. And I do think that you got good running backs and good quarterbacks and all kinds of, good players on this roster. But for me, I want a football player who's versatile, who can, plug and play. I think all 10 of these players are going to have really big roles on this Alabama football team this coming up season. And I think these 10 are your most reliable. I guess that's probably the way that I kind of look at this is who's the most reliable football player. And that's kind of how I would rank them. And so that's why I have Zabien 1 and Bray Hubbard 2 and all the defensive backs up at the top end and Barrett, no running backs on the list because who the heck are you going to rely on? I mean, maybe somebody's going to be reliable by midseason, but I think that you're maybe being hopeful if you're saying that in the summer.
What was your Michael Carroll spot?
I had Michael Carroll at number three. Number three. I think he's your best offensive player. Ryan's going to get all the headlines, but I think Michael Carroll is your best offensive player. And I think that because he's your best offensive player, that's why I think coaching staff's a little wishy, where do we play him? Do we play him at guard or tackle? Where's he going to be the most valuable? Where's he going to be the most effective? And really, I think it depends on the other guard and tackle candidates. I mean, if you don't have another tackle candidate, then he's playing right tackle. If you don't have another guard candidate, then he's playing right guard. I think it really depends on that. And you look at the other guys, I like Javen James a little, not so much. I love Nick Brooks. I think Nick Brooks is going to be a real player with some development. I think Chris Booker is going to be a real player, but he's going to be a true freshman, and I really wouldn't rely on him to play right guard or right tackle this year. So I think Michael Carroll is your best offensive lineman and your best offensive player, but because he's your best offensive player, you're looking at who can be serviceable at right guard or tackle. We'll play them, and then Carroll will play the other.
Yeah, I certainly would have Michael Carroll as the top offensive player. Is it crazy to say that I think my 1, 2, 3 would be 3 defensive backs?
No.
That's where I'm at right now. And I think you could spend a lot of time debating what the order should be. I'd probably go Zabien.
I almost put Bray 1. Go ahead.
I'd probably go Zabien, Bray, Lee. But I think that's my top 3 right there. 3 defensive backs. What I think should be the best defensive back room in the country. I've been playing it up. I've said this a couple times over the offseason now. I think that is a very fair expectation for this group. There should be some pressure on this group to not just perform, but to be absolutely exceptional. And then you had Sab right outside at 11. You had Red Morgan at what, 12? Right
12
outside.
Or 13, 12.
I mean, that 25% or I can't even do math. 4 of your top 12. 5 of your top 12. I really can't do math. Comes as defensive backs. I mean, that speaks to just how incredible that group is. And then it doesn't even include a guy like Jordan Edmonds, who certainly feels like one of the more, and Jair Edwards, who I think are 2 of the more ready freshmen on the team, right? You are so loaded, man. Xavier Mincy, we've said it before. Xavier Mincy not being a clear starter on this team is insane. Mincy is a starter on, I think, at least 80% of the Power 4, and so many of these big-time programs would just love a player like him to slide in. For them, it's a luxury. That unit should be incredible.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the defensive back. I said yesterday that I think Zabien is going to end up being top 16 draft pick. Is that too conservative? Should we even should I bump it up to say top 10? Because 16 feels like it's not even walking out on a limb. I want to feel like I'm walking out on a limb a little, but it's solid.
Yeah, 16 is, if he goes out and has the season that he should, 16 will be a no-brainer. 16 will be, the only way he is available at 16 is if he has a crazy fall, right? If there's a rush at a different position. I think top 10 is fair. And it's crazy to say, like, with the physical gifts that Dijon Lee has, that he probably goes even higher a year later. I mean, you should have, I think if you wanted to be a little bit of a stretch, top 8. I don't know how far you want to push it, but top 16 should be a certainty.
That's where I'm starting. Where do you compare? How do you compare? How do you compare Zabien Brown to? I mean, you shouldn't compare, but to me, I think Zabien's amazing. I don't quite think he's Pat Surtain, but like I think he's amazing. How do you compare Zabien and Pat Surtain with their college levels?
One of the things, like Zabien is going to age so well as an Alabama football player.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, the iconic plays, the three just massive, massive interceptions, plays in games that are going to be remembered over 2 years. And he hasn't even had his best season yet, right? Or what should be his best season. Like, everything I think is lining up for Zabien to just be remembered and talked about for years as, wow, this guy is like one of the best cornerbacks to ever wear crimson for this team. Like, I look at Zabien, and if he puts together All-American season, which he is certainly capable of, and comes up with, look, it's hard to make plays as clutch as the ones he's made. It's hard to have another 99-yard pick six against Tennessee. A pick six to seal or to spark a comeback in a college football playoff game. Even, and I said three, like the Georgia freshman year, that was kind of just right place, right time, and an overthrow, but you still made the play. You were still there. That's one that'll be in the highlight reel in a game that many consider to be one of the most fun Alabama games they've watched. If he comes up with one or two more of those and has just the shutdown season that people think he can, it's going to be hard for – he's going to go head-to-head legacy-wise with any Alabama defensive star.
Right, because, I mean, Pat was so good that they just stopped throwing at him. They stopped throwing at his side of the ball, and he didn't really get a lot of opportunities to make plays, to be, but he shut down half the field. Like Zabien, for some reason, people still think they can try him, or at least they did last year. And they're going to end up trying him again this year, I guess, because it's either throw at Zabien or throw at Dijon Lee and pick your poison there. Zabien, his career highlights are – they're up there as far as best Alabama defensive highlights, career highlights that you could have. And so one more year of Zabien Brown is going to be a lot of fun. Stephen Wesley Weeks is going to help me transition right here by saying Jaira Edwards gets me excited the way he loves to hit. And Xavier Griffin may be a top 10 player on Bama's team by the end of the year. And so, Theo, I appreciate the comment, Stephen Wesley Weeks. I also had a list of future members of the top 10 of Alabama's top 10 football players. And look, I don't think these guys are going to get there this season, but I think you will see them. Yeah, I think you're going to see them on this list in 2027. And I went with tight end Caleb Edwards. I went with left tackle Jackson Lloyd, safety Jaira Edwards, linebacker Xavier Griffin, running back E.J. Crowell, wide receiver Cedarian Morgan, safety Ivan Taylor, and offensive lineman Chris Booker.
We're leaving QBs off for simplicity here, right?
I didn't think about that, but yeah, I probably should put Keelan on there. I was just kind of spitballing yesterday morning before the show, trying to come up with a list of players that'll be there next year. But feel free, take it away.
No, I like the names we've assembled. Did you have Crowell there?
Yes.
Okay, you did have him there. I was thinking about, as you were giving the list, I was thinking about, well, what can we do at the linebacker position here? And I would throw Caleb Woodson as an honorable mention right now. But Xavier Griffin, man, the runway is there for him to go out and do something special basically as soon as he wants to. I would have him pretty high up on the top 8 of the future. Steven's not that far off. I think there's a world where Xavier Griffin, I probably wouldn't go to the bank and go to the casino and put money on it, but I don't think I would. Xavier Griffin could be a top 10 player. Production, what he does, what he means for this team this year. He's got about as high a ceiling as any freshman on this roster as far as 2026 production, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that you got such great players in this class of 2026 that I think you should be really, really excited about them, and in the 25 class also. So we'll see that 25 class fully on display this year, and we'll see who gets to get on the field in the class of 2026.
So what is I'd
Yeah, go
love to
ahead.
hear for you right now, what is it that makes Booker stand out in a pretty crowded room?
I think that he has good size for his position, but I think that that his technique, he sits in his chair pretty well in the pass protection, and I think that he plays through his hips in the run game. So where when he's getting his hands on you, it's his hips and legs driving instead of let's not be too mean here, but you'd sometimes see some offensive linemen, especially the last couple of seasons at Alabama, just get their hands on you and lean on you, lean their upper bodies over instead of driving through the hips. I think Chris Booker, he's got a little physicality to his game. I think he's going to need to add some weight, but just from a technique standpoint, staying low in your stance, engaging with your hand, and firing and driving through your hips. I think that he plays with some really positive technique.
I know we're kind of jumping all over the place here as I kind of pick out pieces of this list, but I think I'd be willing to throw QB Reese as either top 10 fringe or maybe the first guy on the honorable mention. I just think that one of these linebackers needs to be included there. Somebody needs to step up and really produce. There's enough talent for it to happen. Everybody who's put on the uniform and played for this team recently has tried to tell you about how special QB Reese is going to be. That includes the teammates right now. I really been high on it for about a year now. I think the QB Reese breakout is coming, and that he could be one of your most valuable players as far, because you just look at these names on the inside. You see the talent. You see, yes, somebody could step up, but somebody better step up. There are problems if somebody doesn't step up, and I think it will be QB Reese who really emerges as the key cornerstone for really your next potentially 3 years right now, right? He is a redshirt sophomore, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, he's a redshirt sophomore. Yeah, you could have 3 years of QB Reese kind of being the anchor for that. I really think it's a strong possibility.
I think so. I think the inside linebacker room is really intriguing, Theo, because I think very highly of QB Reese. I think pretty highly of Caden Jones. I think pretty highly of Luke Metz. I think really highly of Xavier Griffin. And then you think about everything you've heard about Caleb Woodson in the last 3 months, and it's been just praise on praise on praise of how well he's come into the program and really embraced a leadership role in this young room. Like I think this inside linebacker room is going to be really interesting, and interesting enough to a point where I don't think you're going to see outside of Caleb Woodson. I think you're going to have a heavy rotation with everybody else. I think it's going to be Caleb Woodson basically calling the signals, and that second linebacker stinger is just going to be 3 or 4 snaps and out, 3 or 4 snaps and out, 3 or 4 snaps and rotate. And they're just going to get a chance to go play 3 plays, come over to the sidelines, get a little coaching. Hey, man, what'd you see? XYZ, use your hands, use your feet, blah, 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 and get back out there for another 3 plays. And then come on. I think they're just going to be rotating them through next to Caleb Woodson and basically just coaching them up on the sidelines 3 plays at a time.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. Well, we have a bit of a juicy comment now. We've got some content here from Steven again. Appreciate you being so active and giving us a lot, helping us walk through our conversation here, Steven. But question is, how much does Dre Kirkpatrick Jr. get on the field this year? Special teams mostly in my mind. And who plays the third safety on the 3 safety look? Mincy? QB Reese is the most old school linebacker we have, and we haven't even mentioned Metz, which we just talked about him a second ago. But he thinks Metz and Reese start in the middle next year.
I think Metz is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, It's hard to pin down 2 starters right now. It really is because, like Joe said, like there's stuff to like about all these guys, but there's just nothing proven because of, we're pretty set with your 3 seniors starting in the middle, rotating. And I do agree, Joe, that it will be a lot more rotation, a lot more interchangeable parts, which also does certainly apply to the whole defensive back room, but also the safeties. Like there is no reason for a defensive back to be tired next year playing for Alabama football with how much you can rotate, with almost an embarrassment of riches in that room. It's hard for me to sit here right now and not say that Jair Edwards will be the 3rd safety by the end of the season. I don't know if he has that right away to start, but I really do think that Jair Edwards is going to make it almost impossible to be kept off the field. Like right now,
You're looking at Red Morgan.
Yeah,
you're looking at Xavier Mincy, Drake Kirkpatrick Jr., Ivan Taylor, and Jair Edwards. Like, I think Jair is, I think the world of Jair for sure.
I'd give Red Morgan the edge at least right now. Yeah. Like Red Morgan's another guy where it's like, man, how is he not starting? How is he? I'd put him as a top 8 for next year in a heartbeat, Joe. That's a no-brainer for me. I think he should be in line for a breakout. You just don't know if the room is there. You don't know how much you're going to see him on the field. The same is true for so many of these guys, right? Mincy was the number 4. What was it, number 4 defensive back in his class behind?
3 or 4.
Yeah. Man, it's crazy. Because it was Mbakwe 2, Zabien 3, and then Mincy 4.
Yeah. So. Yeah. He said, I forgot all about Ivan Taylor. Heard nothing but good things about him since exactly like the safety room is stupid loaded. Because I think if you played all 5 of any of those 5, if you said, hey, take 4 away, you have to play the other 1, I'd say, I don't care. Pick whatever 4 you like. We're good with whatever 1 you leave us. Because whoever it is, Jair Edwards, Ivan Taylor, Mincy, Drake Kirkpatrick. Like the only one that I'm like, I like Drake Kirkpatrick a lot, but he's the only one that I would be like, oh, maybe can we get a trade back? Because I think that he's going to be more suited to play a little deeper. But God, I think all 5 of them are heavy hitters and physical players and are made of the right stuff.
Yeah, and to answer the Drake question, I do think it will be – I just think it will end up being primarily special teams because it's going to be so hard to get on this field for anybody. I think Kirkpatrick is – look, it's a good story. Everyone wants to root for him, right, and see him redeem, the decision made last year. He certainly seems all in on that this season. And I think he will have his moments on the field. We will see him play defense for this team. And it's not an indictment on him that it's going to be hard to get on the field. You see Drake Kirkpatrick, Steven saying, as a Red Morgan backup.
Yeah.
I mean, but both of these guys are, Red Morgan especially. Red Morgan is just such a versatile player who can do so much for you out on the field. I would be interested, Joe, and us one day when we're back from vacation, doing just our full – we've got to power rank the whole defensive back room. And I think we'll be, first of all, fighting for our lives, trying to compile the list. But second of all, just I think it'll be a good framing perspective of, okay, this is how we think things – or maybe a pyramid. Maybe a pyramid would be a better format because it's so hard to rank these guys individually. But I think we should try to give everyone a baseline of where we think these guys stand, at least to start.
With King Zabien at the top of the pyramid.
That's a question in itself. Is Zabien Brown in his own tier? Do you put any of the proven guy like Bray Hubbard on? Like, there's just so much. We could spend 90 minutes on it. We really
I think you're right. Let's transition here to the last topic of the day. We appreciate everybody watching us on the Bama Central Facebook page, YouTube channel, listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify. You can be like Stephen Wesley Weeks and leave us your comments. If you want to leave us a voicemail, you can at 205-462-7340, extension 800. We will take your voicemails on any topic at any time and play them on the next subsequent show. We want to tell you about our friends at Purple Turtle Roofing. At Purple Turtle Roofing, we're not just another contractor. We're your neighbor and your advocate when it comes to protecting your home or business. With years of hands-on experience, top-tier certification, and a commitment to excellence, we've built a reputation as Alabama's go-to roofing solution. We specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, emergency storm repairs, full-on roof replacements, insurance claim support, and more. You can visit us online at roofturtle.com or call us at 877-787-6635 today for your free roof inspection. Doesn't matter, metal or shingle, commercial or residential, they'll come out to your home or business and check out your roof so that you have the peace of mind that you deserve. It's Purple Turtle Roofing, roofing with heart, built to last. All right, Theo, just real quickly, before I want you to react to this Pete Nakos article, just to offer up a Terrion Arnold update, because what was it, Monday or Tuesday that we had an episode and we talked about Terrion Arnold, just maybe it was last Friday, Thursday or Friday. We haven't had an update for him. Last weekend, he was arrested, and for a little short period of time, he was held without bond. He had a bond hearing earlier in the week where Nick Saban, probably Miss Terry Saban, wrote a nice letter for. They probably collaborated, let's be honest, and wrote a nice letter, kind of standing in the gap or trying to stand up for Terrion Arnold. But really, Terrion Arnold's lawyer, kind of. It looked like he pulled the pants down on some circumstantial evidence, is what it seemed like. He put some of the people on the stand and kind of asked them about the evidence and kind of framed the case. And it sounded like the actual kidnappers, the actual assaulters, might have changed their stories a couple of different times. And it does. Terrion's definitely involved somehow, some way. I don't know. And that's really where I want to leave it, because I don't know, and we don't know either, because of the evidence that's at hand. Unfortunately, the Detroit Lions said, we don't care what the evidence is, you're going to be cut. And so Terrion Arnold is cut from the Detroit Lions. He's a free agent, but obviously that's the least of his worries right now. He did get bond. He did get bonded out, so he's not currently in prison waiting, or in jail waiting for a trial. His lawyer did do enough in that bond hearing to show that maybe the case isn't as ironclad as it was originally presented. So he did get bond, and we're waiting further updates. But I guess the positives are Nick Saban standing up for him, and the positives are he did get bonded out, and we'll see what happens next with Terrion Arnold. Theo, last little bit of news and something for you to actually react to this time is Alabama announced another non-conference basketball game, this time with our friends Antonio Petway and Kennesaw State. Will Kennesaw State stay within 25 points when they come to Tuscaloosa?
This one's in Tuscaloosa. No going to Huntsville this time around to play them. Yeah, look, I mean, this Kennesaw State program's fun. I think it'll be I think I'll leave it at it'll be a great day in Coleman Coliseum to watch that game. Yeah, I think they can keep it within 25.
Well, it'll always be fun to see Coach Petway in Coleman Coliseum, so that'll be really nice to see. But good to keep building out the non-conference schedule. I guess if you're going to have a bye game of any kind, you might as well help out your former assistants and the former program legends like Antonio Petway. Last thing I have for you, Theo, is I know you didn't get to see this Pete Nakos article, but we've been talking recruiting for 2 weeks now, and you just have to hear some of these quotes. You just have to. This is ridiculous. Now, obviously, you can take it with grains of salt. He put it behind the On3 paywall, right? And a lot of these quotes are anonymous staffer this, anonymous general manager that. But I'm just going to get you to think about what the conversations we've had in recruiting over the last couple of weeks. And I want to throw some quotes at you from Pete Nakos. This is yesterday. Inside the most expensive June yet in high school football recruiting, there are no layups anymore. The very first quote is referencing the layups here, is from an SEC general manager. So it could be Courtney Morgan, or it could be any of the 15 other general managers, or it could not even exist. I don't know. We don't know. But here's the quote. Quote, "It feels like $350,000 was the starting price for a low 4-star this year. We've reached the period where everyone has an agent. There are no layups anymore in high school recruiting. Nothing is even reasonably priced."
$350,000, man. Like it's nothing. Just throwing that around. You guys wonder why Alabama is where it is right now in the recruiting rankings. And I'm sure what Joe is about to continue to read is only going to validate that point. It's ridiculous.
The next quote is from, quote, another SEC front office staffer said, "With the numbers being thrown around, these deals are not all going to be rev share. So depending on how people are structuring third-party deals, we're going to get to November, and people are going to see some stuff in writing and have a panic attack."
Which
to me tells me that these programs are, hey, Theo, you're a 5-star. We'll give you $5 million. We'll give you $3 million. We'll give you $2 million, whatever it is. And of course, my rev share budget for you, Theo, is only $500,000. But look, you're marketable. Mercedes-Benz is going to put you on a commercial. Chuck's Fish is going to put you on a commercial. What else? You're going to have Ziegler Meats is going to put you on a commercial. All this stuff. We're going to take care of you. It's going to be fine. It's going to be great. It's going to be perfect. We're going to get everything taken care of. You're going to be on the billboard for Nucor. You're going to be everywhere. You're going to be, doing meet and greets at North River Yacht Club. It's going to be perfect. You're going to be fine. And by the time November comes around, you're like, where's the rest of my money? Oh, well, Ziegler Meats had a tough year, and, Nucor, they had some layoffs maybe, and membership's down at North River right now. I don't know. I know we said $2 million, but, you're just going to have to make $700,000 work.
Yeah, it's funny. We hear Nate Oates pretty regularly throw out the offhanded remark, like, the guys aren't getting paid what the numbers reported. This feels like a case of that, right? This feels like we see some crazy numbers float around, right? And you hear some. One of the things that I'm trying to balance, I guess, as I follow these numbers is if it sounds super absurdly unrealistic, not too good to be true, but too out there to be true, a lot of times it can't necessarily be true. It isn't. But then everything sounds so ridiculous right now that we don't know, right? We just don't. Some schools really are, putting together these absurd packages to get these players, and a lot of them are falling short. And I think one of the things that makes it so tough is we don't always necessarily have a very clear read on who falls into which category. But there's certainly, I have no doubt that a lot of guys are not getting reported numbers.
Well, it's actually, it's crazy. And so, again, it just lends you to be conservative. Be conservative right here. Only promise these kids what you can actually pay them. And look, all those businesses I just threw out there, I hope they're super successful, and we're not connected with them. And I was totally being hypothetical with that. So I just think it's the right move to be conservative with this right now. Furthering on down this, this is from a Big Ten general manager, and he's talking how much a commitment is worth. You remember Wesley on Tuesday was talking about a lot of the top end prospects are already committed, and who's Alabama really going to be able to go after unless they flip some guys. This guy's talking about $50,000. A Big Ten general manager said, "I had Notre Dame pay to shut down a target's recruitment recently, upping their deal from $400,000 to $450,000 just to get a commitment and to beat us."
Okay. That's one of the least surprising things you've read, relatively. right?
Right, but is that really worth? Like, is that really worth it? Because further on down the list, you have he's got a section that says Flip Watch is still on. This is Nakos. Flip Watch is still on despite lucrative NIL deals. And here comes a quote. I think the mentality from a lot of kids going through it is, man, I'm just going to lock this offer in. That's my floor, and then I'm going to go out in my senior year and ball out and drive up a bigger market. Another source said, everyone is going to flip these days, even the ones you don't think. So go back to Wesley saying, I don't know if Alabama's going to flip anybody. You end up with a kid that, actually, we're more interested in Billy Bob, so your spot is empty. Your spot is gone. I mean, that's kind of what you're dealing with Munchin Sales and Texas right now. Texas is all in on this guy Royal, right? Easton Royal, wide receivers, committed, 5-star, great. Apparently he's getting paid a bunch of money. A source told On3 a final decision could drag out through National Signing Day. Florida and LSU are both willing to pay north of $1.2 million to flip Royal from Texas to their school. They said it's anywhere between $1.2 and $2 million. Well, if he flips, then Texas is going to need a wide receiver, and they're going to go after Munchin Sales, and that's going to affect Alabama. And then you're going to get the down-the-line flipping who decommits from the LSU class or the Florida class, and then does Alabama get a bargain on a $200K 4-star when everybody else is paying $3 and $5, $300,000, $500,000 for these jokers who are just going to sit the bench?
Well, that one of the things that's so fascinating is the idea of if I'm Sales, I almost want to drag it out as long as possible because you get past National Signing Day. You get to the point where, well, it's basically almost time to show up to campus, right? Hey, schools, you got how much money do you have available? Every last penny that these schools have for this class, plus a good portion of the money for the next class. Like, this is literally your last chance to add somebody. It feels like an opportunity to really, really run schools dry and get every last penny. But I would be concerned if I wasn't the 5-star and I was available that late, because that's where it feels like, well, maybe some of the money that I thought was going to go my way, and I was trying to get schools into a bidding war, and I was trying to make all the money, and then out of nowhere it dries up, right? And you got to settle for less. Like, it's going to be interesting. And interesting is the wrong word to use, because this is real money with very real consequences for 17-year-old kids trying to make the biggest decision of their life. But kids are going to get burned. People are going to be given bad advice and make the wrong decision and lose out on a lot of money and choose a place that doesn't set them up for success in the future. Like, it is, like, I think it's getting difficult sometimes to really, really sympathize with the college athletes, right? And the flipping every year and fighting tooth and nail for every year of eligibility. And I understand why people get a little fed up. You have to feel for these 17-year-olds and their families as they try to navigate a position that they never thought they would be in. Right?
It's got to be so high stress for these parents trying to, because at this point you've got a responsibility to your sons to make sure they get a good deal. But then you got to be thinking about make sure they keep that good deal, right? And make sure they're not getting recruited over, make sure the coaches are telling them the truth and try to vet everything. I think it's got to be really, really stressful if you've got a kid in recruiting. Like, you're in an advantageous position. I mean, great. You're in a better position than my parents were. Which is fine, but like
a bad problem to have.
Right. You're in an advantageous position, but I think it's really stressful to navigate. It's got to be really stressful to navigate unless you are one of them top guys in your position. I think it's got to be pretty stressful. Theo, last quote I have for us, or last two quotes I have for you, is talking about recruiting classes and sizes. His last section is schools paying to shut down official visits, spreading cash over cycles. And he says some schools also pulled back their spending this year because of how much they spent on the 2026 class. And here comes a quote from a Big Ten general manager. His quote says, "Look at what Ohio State is doing and us. There is a reason it's only about around 15 or 18 commits. That's probably what it's going to stay at. We got to because we got too many good ones. We're trying to keep them all and just trying to keep hitting on the right ones. People are going to stop caring about how many you got. It's all going to be about quality." And continue. An SEC general manager says, "I don't think you can go chase a top 10 quarterback every year. It doesn't make business sense." Then further on, to conclude the article, it says programs are still dealing with wild requests from top recruits. Requests include plane travel deals and suites during games. Paying for recruits to take unofficial visits this spring was another popular ask, but programs dealt with similar asks just to get players on campus to work out in June. What? SEC general manager says, "I've easily spent just probably this June anywhere between $50,000 to $70,000 on workouts, anywhere from trying to get a plane ticket to our commits coming back every weekend, need a hotel room. I mean, gas money, plane tickets. It doesn't stop."
Look, we know that you're supposed to put out all the stops when you have these guys on a visit. That's ridiculous, though, man. That is crazy. I'm gonna have to sit down and read this article sometime in the next week because there's so much to dissect here.
That Alabama is refusing to play the game, at least in this class.
Yeah.
At least in this class. We ain't playing this game. You're at dead last in the SEC. You're taking a bunch of 3-stars that you're not paying premium dollars for, and you're saying, "Hey, look at who we got in 25 and 26. We got some real football playing jokers right here. You want to be a part of this team, and you're probably going to have to sit a year or two and develop. So, yeah, come on. We'll give you a chance to sit and develop, not spend on money." Oh, my, it's absurd. It's absurd. And so I think that this just, maybe it's confirmation bias. I'll say maybe it is and acknowledge that. But to me, this article just affirms my position that Alabama, at least in this class and this cycle, is smart not to be chasing, not to be throwing stupid dollars at poor returns.
Okay, but let's just be clear. Alabama's, quote, refusal to play the game still includes pulling out all the stops to get the number one QB, still includes you still brought in plenty of talent, and that talent was acquired via the methods outlined in the article. So even in Alabama's case, even when you have a weaker class and you're not spending at the rates of some of the other schools, you're still doing a lot of legwork. You're still doing a lot of the things outlined in the article, just to a lesser extent. I think it's interesting, like, looking at this list, right? Would you rather pay a 3-star corner? Would you rather – how much did it take to get Carmelo O'Neal over from Mercer, right, to be a depth piece for this team? I would certainly rather go the route of 1-year rental, 2-year rental from a smaller school. Yeah, there is a lot to dissect. There's a lot to think about. It seems like the right decision to not go overboard. How sustainable is this? How long does this process keep up? Because if Courtney Morgan and the staff are of the perspective that, well, this is pure chaos, it's going to be resolved, there's going to be some kind of method to the way teams go about this, let's wait 2 years, 3 years for the dust to settle? Or is this the new normal? I could not tell you for sure right now.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff outlined in this article and a lot of the stuff that we know about the sport seems unsustainable. But who are we to say at this point? It's all chaos.
It's only sustainable if you keep the guys in the class next transfer portal cycle. It's not only sustainable if you retain your talent. So we'll see if they do that. I appreciate Pete Nakos for putting that out. A lot of interesting anonymous quotes. So obviously take it just a little grain of salt right there. That's about all I've got for the people today. You got any other soccer thoughts, any Alabama thoughts, any California thoughts, or anything philosophical to leave the people with before we leave them for a week?
No, I hope everyone has a great 4th of July. Man, this 4th of July, I wish I had a little more aura to it. I wish there was a little more hype. And I would like to think that it's probably a little more patriotic over in Alabama right now compared to LA, where I don't see flags waving. I don't see people.
Really?
I don't know. It's a little. I hope on the 4th I see some fireworks and I see.
That's surprising.
It's a little disheartening. I was excited for this.
Yeah, that's surprising. Everywhere you go, you see America 250 merch, America 250, 250th year, and red, white, and blue. And the World Cup and America's performance has just further enhanced that in my heart. Yeah, USA! He scores the free kick last night, and Carrie and I get off the couch. USA! So it's really exciting. That's disheartening. I hope those commies do show out over the weekend.
I do too. We'll see if things come together over the next 2 days.
All right. Well, I'll echo Theo's sentiments and say I hope you all have a happy 4th of July weekend. Look, be smart about your lighters, about your fireworks. Just be smart. Just be careful. If you're going to do fireworks, A-okay. Have fun. But please use your brains. Use your brains. Let's have all 10 of our fingers and toes on Monday after a great weekend. Have a hot dog or 12. Oh, real quick. What's the number for Joey Chestnut? 71, 63?
I'm going to go. I'm feeling a slight down here. I'm going to go 68.
Oh, man. 68 would be good. His record is 83. Oh, crazy.
Wait, really?
That's what it says. Oh, a special challenge.
Yeah.
In September. It's not a 4th of July challenge. So it's record is 74 at the 4th of July.
68.
Yeah, 68. All right, I like it. I'll make it nice and fun and say 69. We'll see what he can do on Saturday at Coney Island. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the weekend. Yeah, exactly. Go get your hot dog, hamburger, have some fireworks, enjoy the family, get on the water maybe somewhere, but be safe and celebrate your freedom. And we will talk to you next Thursday on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.